super petroleum by Kenya shillings 28.69 and diesel by Kenya shillings 40.3 per litre, a historic high since Kenya's independence. You recall 2 weeks ago I announced the price increase of 40 because I had information from the team that was negotiating in Dubai on behalf of William Ruto and his people. Following the April 14, 2026 price adjustment, Mr. William Ruto will earn a profit of Kenya shillings 5 per every litre consumed by the people of Kenya, or the equivalent of 2.5 billion Kenya shillings, from the 500 million litres to be supplied for the region's consumption. Since the inception of the so-called G2G agreement, Mr. William Ruto has earned a cool 30 billion shillings in profit from the supply of petroleum products to the region. During the COVID pandemic period and the onset of the Ukraine-Russian war, the then government of the day took measures to cushion the welfare of its citizens, whereas today the William Ruto regime has taken advantage of the Middle East crisis to load their profit on the local palm price to the detriment of Kenya's citizens. We have one question to ask William Ruto. The emergency contingency stocks were procured in accordance with the Petroleum Act 2019. They were done in accordance with the Petroleum Import Regulations 2023, the Open Tender Agreement Terms and Conditions 2023, and the Kenya Bureau of Standards waiver, and the Kenya National Security Council Committee resolutions issued on 9th March 2026. What crime have these three officers? We demand as follows. Mr. William Ruto, leave being on top of the vehicles, as you have always done to lecture the people of Kenya. You must now make hard decisions for the future. Mr. William, this is the time Kenyans are demanding that you immediately stop living your dream and utopia and face reality and put Wanjiku first. Mr. William Ruto, you must immediately direct the Speaker of the National Assembly, your sycophant, to convene a special sitting of Parliament within 7 days to address the following urgent issues, failure to which the united government shall call for national mass action. 1, to cancel the so-called government-to-government petroleum framework, as it involves hard-picked oil marketing companies that represent the William Ruto interests. In any case, the commercial frameworks between William Ruto and private international companies. We want to explain that this is not government-to-government. This is government companies in the Middle East. In normal circumstances, if it was government-to-government, these Middle East companies would be working either with NOC or with the Kenya Pipeline Company, not private companies owned by William Ruto. So there is nothing like government-to-government deal. It is government to William Ruto, proxies and companies. We unequivocally demand for the immediate resignation for energy and petroleum, Mr. Opiyo and I, for the fuel scandal and lying under the oath to the National Assembly Committee. We also demand the resignation of Lee Kenyanjui for being complicit and being part of this scandal. We want to ask to suspend the implementation of the National Infrastructure Fund and use the proceeds collected from the sale of equity in Safaricom PLC and Kenya Pipeline Corporation to cushion wananchi from the adverse socio-economic effects of the April 2026 historic fuel price adjustment. On taxation relief to Kenyans, we demand the suspension of the road maintenance levy that was increased from 18 shillings to 25 shillings per every litre of fuel. We also demand the suspension of the affordable housing levy. We also demand the suspension of unwarranted NSSF deductions that are punitive and are used to finance President William Ruto's single-sourced infrastructure projects. We also demand that Parliament remove VAT on fuel products. We are saying on behalf of the people of Kenya that that is a irreducible minimum. And if there is no action taken on the part of William Ruto, we shall announce further measures to the people of Kenya to force William Ruto and the National Assembly to act in the best interest of the people of Kenya. Thank you.
Well, there we go. Tomorrow, I will be in the High Court at Milimani dealing with this other state capture matter of the sale of Safaricom shares to Vodacom, itself a foreign company. So although in our statement we have highlighted that whatever the proceeds out of that sale, I want to announce that that is contested and will be in court tomorrow. So we will now invite our brother JB Muturi to give some highlight, make some further comments, and after that we'll have brother Fred Matiangi, and finally Eugene Wamalwa will make the final comments. JB.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to state to William Ruto to ask his proxy, Moses Wetangula, to convene a special sitting. We are cognizant of the fact that the House is still sitting, but we are saying that this is the right time, if indeed William Ruto has any interest at all about the welfare of the people of Kenya, because we know the revenue and expenditure estimates, what we call the budget estimates, will be tabled before the House of Parliament not later than 30th of this month. And therefore, our call for a special sitting and for the removal of VAT and the suspension and or total exclusion of the extra 7 shillings charged on the fuel levy should be at this time and be considered during this special sitting because the ramifications of this historic and abnormal increase in the cost of fuel effected last night are enormous, and the implications will spread to all sectors of our national economy and affect the socio-economic fabric of this country. In conclusion, I just want to amplify the point raised in our statement that indeed, as Kenyans would recall, when William Ruto took over the reins of government in 2022, is when immediately after he had made several promises that we needed to address the issue of the many taxes in the fuel sector. And many Kenyans will recall that he never shied to criticize the former administration. He said he offered that there will be a review of the many. In fact, in his own words, he put those levies at 15. He said they're going to be reviewed. And therefore, every Kenyan felt that when he came up with the idea of a G2G arrangement, he was indeed going to address that issue of the mini taxes. The matter did come to me as Attorney General of the Republic, brought to me by the CS then, Davis Churchill, the chairman of the Presidency Council of Economic Advisors, David D., and one of the other advisors, Mr. Hassan Mohammed. I just raised one question. Yes, Saudi Aramco is owned by the Saudi government. It is therefore a government company. ADNOC is owned by the Abu Dhabi government. ENOC is owned by the Emirates. So indeed, it's just an acronym. So I raise the issue. If it's going to be a government to government, what is the government on the Kenyan side? And of course, the excuses were used that, you know, there was a pressure on the Kenyan shilling because the oil marketing companies were demanding not less than 500 million shillings every month to import fuel into the country. And that now the arrangement was that Kenya was going to be given a 6 months window before paying for the fuel that will have been delivered. But surprisingly, the government of Kenya chose not to use the government-owned National Oil Corporation, NOC, or the Kenya Pipeline Company, KPC, to represent government on the Kenyan side so that the equation makes sense when you talk about G to G. Instead, the government of Kenya purported to advise the oil importing companies, the IOCs, the three from the Middle East, to nominate locally companies that government purported to have interest in. And those companies, the three that was nominated, are the ones led by Gulf Energy, in which William Ruto controls more than 3/4 of his shares. Indeed, as Kenyans would know, this Gulf Energy is the company that bought out the British consortium that was dealing with the Turkana oil. And therefore, it is no wonder that we have never seen a reduction in the fuel prices, because William Ruto is right in the middle. On the Kenyan side, he is the G. That's why we are calling on William Ruto to now cease this arrangement. And that's why we are saying Parliament should actually be the one in the forefront to call for scrapping of this so-called G2G arrangement, so as to address the plight of the common person who is going to get the effects of this astronomical and abnormal increase in fuel prices. Thank you.
Thank you.
In addition to what my colleagues have said, when we were reflecting on this issue this morning, the 3 points that need to be made in addition to what we have said in the statement, the lengthy and detailed statement we have put out, is that one, a lot of information on this matter has come to us, the leaders of the opposition. This is because there are so many Kenyans out there in the public and private sector who are not just alarmed, but generally deeply frustrated by the way this administration is managing our country. I stop to ask the question all the time, in this era of information and liberal availability of information, it cannot be that the government and its leaders